Hi, welcome to a virtual orientation for Eagle HT 25.5 REOK by Jayco. We're going to start our video orientation on the outside of the RV, then we're going to begin at the front. The first thing that we're going to look at is your underbelly or door side pass-through compartment. You'll see that in this side of the pass-through we have an output for your satellite cable or antenna, 120 volt power, as well as some lighting. This will allow you to watch TV underneath your awning. Also in this compartment, you'll see a tire pressure gauge and your manual crank for your spare tire. As we move forward, we'll drop down just below your propane storage compartment and we will see the manual crank location for your spare tire. So we'll look into your door side propane compartment here. This side does not have the crossover regulator, the other side does. So this side you'll merely see your 130-pound propane bottle. And we'll take a look a little more in depth once we get to the other side. So as we come around the front, a couple things we'll notice. We have 120 volt power right at the front here. We also have this camera body or camera housing. What this is a pre-wire for rear view cameras or backup cameras that let you see along the side of the RV as well as the rear of the RV. You can do this via a head unit that can be placed inside the tow vehicle. That way you can monitor the sides and rear of the vehicle while you are moving. This particular unit has the cameras installed. It does not come equipped with them, but the wiring is all there for them. So let's continue to go around the front. Have the pin of your hitch here. As we continue along, notice we have this nice loading light, useful for doing any nighttime hitch ups or hookups. As we come around, we'll also notice the whip to connect you to your tow vehicle is up inside the hitch here. You'll also see we have your safety breakaway switch here. The loop end will get attached to the tow vehicle. In the event that the tow vehicle and the RV are separated, this pin will be pulled and your trailer brakes will be engaged. It's also worth noting that sometimes on hookup this pin can be accidentally pulled partially free of the housing. If that's the case, come and just make sure that it's properly seated and then you should be able to pull the RV freely again. So also at the front here, you'll see that we have a large storage space as well as your battery storage compartment with room for 2 batteries if needed. As we work our way around the outside, we'll come to the off-door side propane storage. And the crossover regulator. So what this crossover regulator will do, currently the handle for the regulator is pointing this way, which means it will draw from this 30-pound bottle. Once this 30-pound bottle drops below a predetermined amount of pressure, that is determined by the regulator itself and we can adjust it. So once it drops below that predetermined pressure, it will automatically cross over and draw from the bottle on the door side. That way on cold nights, if you're running the furnace, you no longer have to get out and manually change the bottles over. So next we'll come to the off-door access to your underbelly storage compartment. We'll see we have your power cord here. This is what you would use to connect to the campground power. We also have a conversion plug here to convert the 50 amp plug to a 30 amp. And then we have this spray hose as well that can be used on the outside of the RV on the spray port. I'll show you that in a moment. And your sewer hose as well. Also in this area, you'll notice the battery disconnect. This way, if you're not going to be using your RV for a while, you don't necessarily have to unhook your battery. The battery disconnect will disconnect power from most items in the RV to limit the draw on the battery. And directly above there we have the auto level system. you can see here, to activate the auto level system, we press and hold the up and down buttons at the same time, and it will activate the system. Once the system is active, this green light will light, and then you can follow the directions here. Really the most important feature is that once you have it on and you press the auto level option, and it goes through all of its things, gets you nice and level. When you're all done camping, you come, hit the hitch height button, and it'll actually put the pin right back where it was when you disconnected from the RV in the first place. It'll put it back down to the level that it was just previous to you hitting the auto level button. And if we slide just next door here, there's a few very important things we'll talk about. First, we'll just make quick mention of the spray port here. That's where we can use the spray hose that we showed you previously in the underbelly. A couple other things you'll make note of. We have our solar connection here up in the corner. We also have a valve to switch you between a bypass mode on the hot water tank and your summer mode, or using the tank itself. So at the moment, your water is going to go through the tank. If you put the valve handle upright, it would bypass the hot water tank. You would use that if you were winterizing the RV. Also in here, we'll see the main input for the satellite cable and also an auxiliary input, as well as switching for your water pump and a light to indicate that your water pump is being used. Also here we have the flush input, so if you hook up your garden hose to this tank flush here, it will flush out your black tank for you. And then you'll notice that we have two inputs here as well. So this is your city water connection side, and on the city water connection you can do a few different things, but basically with the valve handles arranged in this way and your garden hose from either your campground or your house hooked up here, it will give you your city water connection. And what that does is connects water from the garden hose from a campground or your house and pressurizes the water system inside the RV, and then you can use it much like you would the water in your own home. You hook up to the sanitizer winterize with your garden hose from either your campground or your home, and you connect the hose here, and you have the valve handles in this position. That is the position to winterize. You'd use a fill tube and hook it up to your antifreeze jug. If you're looking to fill your freshwater tank, you would do so here with the handles in this position. So you can see we have a picture for every sort of configuration. And directly below, we have your valve handles for your two gray water tanks and your black water tank, as well as the output for those right here. Right next door to the underbelly door, we have your 50 amp connection point for your power for the trailer. This is where you would hook up the cable I showed you in there, and then the other end would be hooked up to your campground power supply or the power supply at home. Again, if either the campground or your home doesn't have a 50 amp plug, you will have to use the conversion plug to convert it down to 30 amps and or 15 amps. We'll take a look at the outside portion of your hot water tank. We have a few things to note here. One being your drain plug, anode rod. If you're ever removing the drain plug and the system is pressurized, you want to make sure that this pressure relief valve is open to relieve the pressure. Otherwise, this will come shooting out like a bullet. So we want to avoid that. So if you're removing this to drain the tank, always open your pressure relief valve. Also in here, we have a reset for your water heater. So let's continue to work our way along the outside of the RV here. We're going to come around the back. I want you to notice the rooftop access via the ladder. And as I mentioned previously, we have a rear view camera that will work in conjunction with a head unit on the inside of your vehicle, so you can see the back or sides of the vehicle via the rear view and side view cameras. We've almost made it back to where we started. Make note of the outdoor kitchen. Your outdoor kitchen has some lighting, as well as an output for your cable or satellite, and power to run your TV. We also have a drawer to store your cooking utensils that can be used on your grill. This grill is a self-light. When you turn the knobs, it sparks and emits the gas at the same time, and it connects to the propane system via quick connect. This end will connect to the quick connect port on the RV. So you'll see right now this valve is in the closed position. In order to use the appliance, you'll have to switch it to the open position, put it back to closed. So you connect this end of the quick connect into here. Now the other end of that quick connect hose is connected here. And then turn your sparking knobs, or just turn your knobs, and it'll spark and let the gas out at the same time. Also out underneath, just to the side of your awning here, we have the outside access to your refrigerator. This actually acts as venting for the refrigerator and is needed to remain obstruction free to allow maximum airflow for the proper operation of the fridge. Before we step inside, I'd like to make note of your light for your stairs there. A nice little night light to guide you back when it's dark out. And also a secondary spray port on this side of the RV that can be used with that spray hose I showed you earlier. And we have two speakers. Let's go inside now and take a look at what we can see. Okay, if we turn right around here and look back towards the door, we'll notice one of the first things that's important to us is your fire extinguisher. I like the position of it. It's very close to the door in case you need it outside when you're cooking outdoors, but it is also right beside your cooktop inside the RV. Let's turn around. We'll take a look at your JCommand system, and we'll use that to turn on the lights for us. There we go. So we're going to take a quick second just to show you how to navigate around in here. We have this top button here, and it'll switch you between screens. So you can see it's changing the whole screen. So we have motors, your awnings, and both slide controls. We have the temperature controls for the RV, for your AC and your furnace. And then we have a settings screen. This is where you will pair your phone to the RV. That way you can walk around outside, put the slides out, do everything that you can do from here actually on your phone, and download the JCommand app. And then once you've downloaded the app, you can come to the settings screen, go pair your device, click OK. Once you click OK, it'll actually start trying to pair. So you have to do some things on the phone side first in order to pair it. But it's pretty straightforward. It runs you through it screen by screen. Just know that this is where you have to come when it's time to do this portion of it. So again, we have your tank levels, and we have control of your water pump and your water heater as well. We also have these quick buttons down here. The first button was set up to work with the inside lights, and the second button, I believe, works the light on the awning. Okay, so let's just look straight down from the JCommand, and we'll notice the power center for the RV. This is where you're going to find your breakers, much like you'll see in your house, and they operate the same way, and your fuses, like you might see in your vehicle. And again, they operate in a similar fashion. There are also a series of lights here that will light up if there is an issue with one of the circuits. Before we move on, I had mentioned a solar ready connection point on the outside of the RV. This is where the inside pre-wired portion would go. You cut this out, or well, we would cut it out, or whoever was going to do the work would cut it out, and you'd find all the wiring in behind here to install the head unit for your pre-wired solar. Let's make our way upstairs We'll take a look in the bathroom. Nice large bathroom. You have the option to go to the bedroom through the hallway or through the bathroom. As we enter the bedroom, you will notice we have some underbed storage. This is where extra chairs for the dining room table are usually stored, and this is where you can find yours. We'll also notice we have a bracket position already pre-marked for a television and bracket if you choose to purchase that separately, as well as your output for cable or satellite and a 12-volt connection point as well. So as we come around the bed, we'll make note of beside the bed we have 2 USB charging points as well as 120 volt power. And on the door side of your bed we have the emergency exit. Simply flip these handles out, releasing the window, and then you can push the window free and you can escape to safety. We'll make our way back down to the main portion of your trailer. The next thing we're going to take a look at is the unit GFCI. This GFCI, if tripped, will stop power from anything on the load side of the plug. What would typically be on the load side would be anything on the outside of the RV and in the outdoor kitchen, and any plugs near water on the inside, so counter plugs up here and plugs in your bathroom might be on the load side. So if you find one of those aren't working, I would come here, press the top button, which is a reset, and you should be good to go. And if we look right down from here, we'll find the carbon monoxide propane detector. This carbon monoxide propane detector has a button on the front so it can be tested. I recommend testing it every 6 months or daylight savings time whenever you change the batteries in your smoke detector. And you press this button, the green light goes away, you'll hear a series of loud beeps, and then it'll return to a solid green to indicate that the system is functioning properly. It is worth noting as well that certain items can set this alarm off that are not actually gas or propane or carbon monoxide, the most common of which is paint. So if you're doing any painting and this alarm goes off, open the windows and clearing out the area of any paint fumes before you go into a panic. We're going to come in to the kitchen area. Notice that we have some USB charging ports here as well underneath your sink. Let's take a look at the range top and stove. Before we do anything, I want to make sure to note that these burners should never be lit without first opening the glass. However, before you move your unit, you're all done camping and pack up, always make sure you close this as well. If you don't, you just run the risk of coming in here and finding a bunch of broken glass all over. So let's go into the lighting of your range top. You have a light position. So once it's turned to that light position, you turn this sparking knob to ignite your burners. The same can be done for all three, and the same can actually be done for the oven portion as well, with the exception of when turning the sparking knob, you must also press and hold the oven temperature control knob in at the same time. Let's take a look at your refrigerator. This will operate on gas or electric. It basically has two modes, auto mode or just straight up gas. In auto mode, it will select from electricity first automatically. If electricity is not present, then it will look for your propane. So if we look a little bit closer in here, you'll see that we have your on off switch to switch it on and off. But we also have this switch here that will switch you between auto and gas. Now if there is an issue lighting on gas, you will see this check light light up. One of the more common things that will cause your fridge not to light on propane properly is the valves are not open on your propane bottles, or you've just opened your propane bottles and the gas pressure is not built up enough to light the appliance. What will happen is the refrigerator will try to light 3 times. If it's unable to do so, this light will flash and then it'll stop the lighting sequence. So if that happens, turn the refrigerator off via the off button, and then go out front, make sure the gas is on, give it a minute, come back in and try to light it again. One little feature I have to show you, mostly just because I think it's kind of neat, is this. We have a storage behind your TV system here, which I jumped the gun a little bit. So there is a locking strap that you unhook. Then when you open it up, now there is a light in here. I'll turn that on now just to show you the extra storage in here. It's very handy. But the real reason we've come in here is to take a look at the output for your satellite and your cable. I want you to note that there is a signal booster for your antenna right here. At the moment the green light is on, that would indicate that it is boosting, and now it is off. Basically, you don't have to remember which is which. If you're trying to set up your cable and the signal isn't what you think it should be, come back in here, press this button, and then go back and search for channels on your cable system again and see if that doesn't help fix the signal issue. Again with one hand. So in order to get to the strap, however, the TV is merely pressure fit here to here. So you just pull evenly out on the front of the TV, or push evenly on the front of the TV to properly seat it. Okay, from here, we've looked at your TV. We'll just swing a little bit to our right, and we'll look at your stereo. The stereo offers DVD as well as USB, HDMI, Bluetooth, an auxiliary port, and headphone capabilities. In addition to that, there are 3 zones, 1, 2, and 3. Zone 1 and 2 are inside the RV, and Zone 3 is located outside the RV on the speakers that I showed you earlier. You are able to play your sound or music from inside on this stereo, outside on the speakers on the RV, and in any one of these zones altogether, or any one independently, or any combination of the 3. Really allows you a lot of flexibility as far as the sound goes. If you got somebody napping inside here, well, you can play your music outside and you won't wake them up. And if we drop down just below, we will see your fireplace. Now in some RVs, there's a secondary switch you have to find to switch you between your water heater on electric and your fireplace. There just isn't enough power in the 30 amps in order to run them both at the same time. However, with the 50 amps that we have here, it's no problem. So you do not have to bother with that switch. Your hot water heater can work just fine in conjunction with your fireplace. The fireplace, however, will not work if you're not plugged into your shore power. And at the moment, I'm running off battery. But you can cycle through here. You can choose different flame styles and colors, temperature settings, as well as a timer. That about does it for our virtual orientation. I hope I've covered everything that was important to you. If by chance I have missed something, I apologize. But don't hesitate to give us a call here at Christie's, and we'll do our very best to answer all the questions that you may have. Thank you.